Hey, so how's it going, guys? This is Real Murata photographer based in Tokyo. So GFX50S II Mark II might be discontinued. High chance. It's a great time to grab one now. So this is actually a sort of like a news type of video, which I rarely do, but I thought it would make sense to make a video. And probably the majority of people who watch my YouTube channel are someone who probably shoots with the exact same camera as I do, the GW690 Mark III or Mark II or the first generation, or any kind of medium format camera, or you guys are into film cameras, or you guys love seeing Japanese or locations shot in Tokyo, Japan. That's where I currently live. I'm Japanese. And yeah, and I think a long time ago I mentioned on my channel that a great alternative to shooting with film on the digital side was the GFX50R, which was discontinued. But due to the fact that that camera has been stalled production, they don't make it anymore, you only could get a used copy, the numbers is actually shrinking significantly in Tokyo, Japan. I only saw one GFX50R being on sale used like 6 months ago, and ever since then I haven't seen it. And along with the weird battery that the GFX50R uses, I couldn't recommend that camera to a lot of people because it is hard to get. And after that, I started to sort of in one of my videos started to talk about recommending the GFX50S II, which is basically sort of like a newer camera, but instead of a rangefinder type, it's pentaprism, and the price is relatively similar. And I thought that would be the great alternative when shooting on the medium format scale on the digital side. However, that option too is gonna disappear sooner than later, because up until recently, I was actually talking with sales from Fujifilm, and we were talking about the future of GFX. I was interested in the 100, megapixel camera, and then it went to the conversation of the 50S series, and he basically said to me bluntly that that camera will actually be discontinued due to the fact that there's a bunch of reasons why. Number one, the largest reason is, you guys probably know, the sheer, I guess, 99% of the sensors that Fujifilm uses is actually purchased from Sony. And we all know that camera companies, Nikon, Canon, Pentax, or I don't know, Lumix, so Panasonic too, fair majority of camera makers that make digital cameras nowadays use sensors made by Sony. And Sony's been the only distributor of the sort of 50 megapixel, sensor dedicated for the GFX system, and I guess that contract ended or might have ended. I do not know, I can't confirm on that information, but it seems it has ended, meaning that Sony's not producing this sort of 50 megapixel sensor anymore, meaning that Fujifilms won't be able to produce a GFX system, or not GFX system, the GFX50S Mark II camera, which also means that no newer cameras will be added to the shelves of retailers in Japan and Tokyo specifically. So I thought this would make a significant meaning on my videos. Because I never shot with the GFX50S II Mark II, I cannot give you guys my feedback, my input of using that camera, because I never used it, only used it within stores, just handling the grips and stuff like that. But that, what you will call the entry-level camera for shooting a medium format digital, is going to disappear. So I thought this would be sort of like a heads up kind of video for people who are on that verge, on the tip of the iceberg of thinking of jumping into that system, because that option is going to disappear. And specifically speaking, this is just the new cameras being produced added to the shelf, so meaning that the total supply of the GFX50S Mark II is going to stop right there. And obviously there's going to be people like me who 100% do not purchase new cameras. I 100% purchase used, because similar to cars, when you buy a brand new car, the price depreciates at a fast rate on the first, second, third year, and after that it kind of stabilizes. Similar to cameras, I basically purchased when the prices actually took a deep downhill dive. Sorry, Fujifilm, I never buy new cameras. I'm not into that, but a used camera with low shutter count actually. So I went a little bit off topic, and this basically leads into Fujifilm's sort of core strategy. I guess I'm not a marketing person unfortunately, but from a cameraman's or a photographer's standpoint, I can state that if you looked at the X system, we all know that Fujifilm has betrayed us by stopping the production of the X Pro 3, XE4, XT30 Mark II, XT200, which were mostly for the entry-level types of people, and they basically like concentrated the what I call a lineup into one single camera, which is the XS20, which blew my mind, and I thought, no way, you can never do that. But I was talking with the sales representative, going a little bit off topic. The X Pro and the XT series are gonna get a refresh soon, if I'm right. So they haven't betrayed us, but they're trying to sort of like make their lineup of cameras in a smaller scale and concentrated in a specific camera, similar to the GFX system. They're trying to concentrate the majority of people into the 100 megapixel sensor, and this is due to the fact that similar to the X106, they basically what they did was increase the megapixel count, made better, I guess, used a better processor, and basically jacked up the price. They're gonna do that for the GFX system. They're gonna basically increase the megapixels by using the 100 megapixel into the exact same body previously, the GFX50S II, and then jack up the price by 2 to 3 times. And I guess they realize that if they do that markup, they can basically make more profit. And at the same time, the GFX50S II Mark II, the price is actually dwindling down. And I'm guessing that they're not making that much of a profit from selling that camera specifically. And also, not to mention, Sony's cameras, the full frame, is actually slowly approaching the 16 megapixel range. So it doesn't make that much of a sense to create a 50 megapixel medium format camera, because the majority of people, or a sheer amount of people, might go to the Sony side and they don't feel that much tempted to go onto the GFX system. And I don't want to do the debate between full frame megapixel wars between the full frame and the GFX type of medium format. They're completely different, but there is that going on. So not many people find it needing to purchase that 50 megapixel like GFX cameras. But from my standpoint, from my view, from what I do as a living, I think having this sort of like entry camera for the digital side is essential, because there are people like me who shoot non-professionally with a film camera, but I love shooting with film medium format camera. But there might be that chance I might hop over to the GFX side, just due to the fact that the price of film is going up, and there are a lot of people like me who are contemplating on sticking around with film for a couple of years or so, or maybe they might do the full jump to the GFX system. And I know the GFX system, especially the 50S II, which is the cheapest of all those medium format digital cameras that are available, is that option is slowly going to disappear. So sort of like sum it up, obviously, like I said, I purchase like used cameras, so basically look at the used prices of the GFX system regularly to see if it's going down or not. And when I went to Fujiya Camera, which is basically one of the largest camera shops on the sort of like the western part of Tokyo, they were selling a hell of a lot of GFX 50S Mark II for roughly 320,000 yen. So that's like $2,400 USD right now, if I'm right. And to give you guys sort of like an indication, the XH2S in Tokyo right now used cost like 1,400, 500 USD. So there's roughly a $500 difference in between Fujifilm's flagship APS-C camera, the XH2S, and the GFX50S II. So if you guys are interested, or if you're ever in Tokyo, that's basically sort of like a price range that are being sold in Tokyo. So yeah, similar to GFX's like 50R series, where it's almost impossible to find a copy, the 50S II will probably be in a similar situation, where a lot of people will realize that they don't want to shell a hell lot of money for the 100 megapixel GFX system, because it costs like 2-3 times more. But the sheer majority of people will probably go and start purchasing the 50S II, since it is the much affordable option and the only entry point into the GFX system. And they do have a lot of great glasses. I would love to try the 80mm 1.7. First, I need to get a GFX system running, but yeah, I do not have that time on my hands. So yeah, and space in my dry cabinet. But yeah, hopefully I made some kind of dedication in this specific video talking about the GFX50S II type of camera. And if you're ever thinking of hopping over, I think this might be actually the great time. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you have any questions, or if there might be something I messed up or missed out on, I would be happy to hear from you guys. And also, I'm kind of curious about the stock of the GFX50S II in North America and Europe, because I rarely get any information from on that side. But in Japan, it is actually slowly disappearing from the shelves of local retailers. So yeah, we'll see you next time.